to the real, from death to immortality. Oh, peace, peace, peace.
Today, we pay our respect to Lord Shiva, whose head is adorned with matted hair. His neck has wrapped with garland of snake, who resides in the mind of rishis and devotees. He is the restorer, destroyer, and of the universe, and giver of liberation. O Lord Shiva, please look after the devotees with your kindness. Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Pashi Pashupati Pinakadhari, Pashi Pashupati Pinakadhari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Jire Jata Juta Kanthe Kalakuta, Shire Jata Juta Kanthe Kalakuta, Sadhak Janagana Manas Bihari, Sadhak Janagana Manas Bihari, Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Triloka Palaka, Triloka Nashaka, Triloka Palaka, Triloka Nashaka, Para Para Prabhu Moksha Vidhayaka, Para Para Prabhu Moksha Vidhayaka, Karuna Nayane Haro Bhagat Jane, Karuna Nayane Haro Bhagat Jane, Roichi Sharano Charane Mari, Roichi Sharano Charane Mari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Pashi Pashupati Pinakadhari, Pashi Pashupati Pinakadhari, Jaya Shiva Shankara Hara Tripurari, Jaya Shiva Shankara.
I'm reading from the book How to Live with God by Swami Kripamayananda. The topic is the meaning of Ramakrishna's name. There is an eternal relationship between a word and its meaning. The meaning is of two kinds, the literal meaning and its inner significance. The word Ramakrishna literally refers to an embodied man of that name, a son of Khudiram and Chandramani, a temple priest of Dakshineshwar, and so on. The inner significance of the word Ramakrishna is that this being is Satchidananda, the ever-free God, and an avatar. When one repeats this mantra and understands its meaning, one experiences the power of the name and gets joy within. Swami Bhagavatananda, a famous and learned monk of Varanasi, once explained the profound meaning behind Ramakrishna's name. He said, "From the ordinary standpoint, Ramakrishna is a mere name. But if one explores deeply, one will find that it is full of mystery. For example, Ramante yoginaha asmin iti Rama. He who bestows delight upon the yogis is Rama. Karshati bhaktanam dukkham papam manoveti Krishna. He who absorbs and destroys the sin and suffering of the devotees, or he who attracts the devotees' minds and dissolves them in his devotion is Krishna." Rama and Krishna were born in their respective ages to remove the sufferings of humanity. At present, they have been manifested jointly in the form of Ramakrishna. There is a mystery in the name Rama. When Rama was born, his father Dasharatha asked the sage Vashishta to name his son. Vashishta said, "The name of this child is Rama." King Dasharatha and his ministers said, "That's a very short name. This child will inherit the great throne, so he should have a long, dignified name." Vashishta said, "O king, you do not know the glory and greatness of the name Rama. Please listen. The letter Ra of the name Rama comes from the mantra Namo Narayana, which is the essence of the famous Vaishnava mantra. If you remove Ra from that mantra, it becomes Namo Nayanaya, which means salutations to the sensual objects of the world instead of salutations to Lord Narayana. Similarly, the letter Ma of the name Rama is the quintessence of the Shiva mantra Namah Shivaya. If Ma is removed from this mantra, it becomes Na Shivaya, which means everything is inauspicious, instead of salutations to the all-auspicious Shiva. When Vashishta thus unveiled the mystery of the name Rama, Dasharatha was pleased. Rama is in the name of Ramakrishna. The spiritual meaning of the name Krishna is this. The root meaning of the word Krish is the ever-existent Brahman, and Na is happiness or bliss. This Sat or existence and Ananda or bliss are the essence of Brahman. That is the meaning of the word Krishna. If Sat is removed from Brahman, nothing can exist. And if Ananda is removed, we will not seek anything else in this world. So the meaning of the word Krishna is Sat and Ananda. Krishna is also included in the name of Ramakrishna. The greatness of this name is beyond description. Those who are initiated repeat the name of their chosen deity. So it is important for them to know the inner meaning of that name. It helps the aspirant to be close to God. We try to unite ourselves with God through karma, prayer, japa and meditation. Our spiritual practices become smooth and joyful if we have a clear knowledge of His real nature. 2 days before his passing away, Ramakrishna said to Vivekananda, "He who was born as Rama and Krishna is now living in this very body as Ramakrishna, not from the standpoint of your Vedanta, but actually so." Swami Turiyananda commented on the above statement. The point stressed here is that the Advaita school of Vedanta holds Jiva and Brahman to be one. Some take this to mean that everyone is equal to Rama and Krishna and they have no distinctive qualities. Lest Swamiji misunderstand the saying, "He who was Rama and Krishna is now Ramakrishna in this body," Sri Ramakrishna emphasized this statement with the words, "Not from the standpoint of your Vedanta." That is to say, the consciousness of Sri Ramakrishna was the consciousness of Ishvara, God, and not of Jiva. According to Advaita Vedanta, the Jiva can attain the knowledge of his or her identity with Brahman by removing his or her ignorance through spiritual practices culminating in Samadhi. Yet, despite all imaginable efforts, the Jiva can never become Ishvara. The one who is Ishvara is eternally Ishvara. Even when Ishvara assumes a human body and appears to be a Jiva, that one remains the same Ishvara and does not become the Jiva. Here at Sariti.
Now a short period of meditation. Good morning, friends. Tomorrow is Shivaratri, and on 8th is the Janma Tithi of Sri Ramakrishna, birthday according to lunar calendar, and we are celebrating Sri Ramakrishna's birthday on Sunday, 10th of March at 11 a.m. and tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. The topic chosen is, who is Sri Ramakrishna? Is it the one that we see in the picture and that's the end of what we worship as Sri Ramakrishna, a bearded fellow with small, sitting down in Samadhi and looking like that, half eyes closed, half open? Is that alone is Sri Ramakrishna? Is more than that what we see in this picture? Is Sri Ramakrishna, who came in this world, lived for about 50 years and then passed away, gave great thoughts and philosophies, life-changing message which was spread all over the world through Swami Vivekananda and other disciples, and tried to give guidance to humanity and a path to show acceptance of all, love for all, living together, and putting mind the highest to achieve the real goal of life. Is that much is Sri Ramakrishna? Sri Ramakrishna is much more than that. One very nice, interesting story is there when the Sri Ramakrishna talks about a great wall that is there on some path. And he says, what is beyond that high wall, nothing can be seen. What is there on the other side? So what lies on the other side, nobody knows. And then he says, but there was this small hole. And through that hole, one can see the immense spread of the field. Huge, vast field was lying other side. You don't have to cross that. There was no way to see what was lying except without having that small hole. Small hole. And he says, incarnation of God is that hole. Small, without incarnation of God, we can have no idea about the absolute God, the formless being, the Purusha, the Satchidananda. How will we find? How will we have real idea about what really God is? God is limitless. God is all-powerful. God is the creator of this whole universe. How to have that knowledge? That knowledge about any idea about God can come through these incarnations of God. So, and what you see through Sri Ramakrishna's life, you can find what God means. What God means in its formless aspect, in vast, expansive aspect. But what is that? What is that expanse of Satchidananda? What is that? That alone is this form, small, 5 feet, few inches. That same being is there in the formless aspect. You see through Sri Ramakrishna, and what you see through him, you see Sri Ramakrishna alone in his formless aspect. When Yam came to Sri Ramakrishna for the second time, Sri Ramakrishna asked, what do you believe? Do you believe in God with form or without form? Yam was very puzzled. Very puzzled. He said, how can that be? If God is with form, how can it be without form? Something having form, limit, shape, color, how can it be without anything? And if something has no form, shape, color, then how can it have this form? Limited atoms will be there. So he was very, couldn't understand, and he gives in the gospel. He says, what is Sri Ramakrishna is asking? Can milk, white milk can be black? Can formless infinite being can have a form and confined to the particular shape? So he couldn't understand at all, didn't come to that. That was the thought that is going on in that time, that people thought, some thought God is with form alone, some thought no, God is without form. And there has to be a lot of clash and contradiction and friction among these two ideas about God. And both of them had not seen God in true shape. And they were just reading in the books. Some say God is like Krishna, others say God is like Kali, others say no, God is not like this, God is formless. He has no form. And He is everywhere, He is infinite, without any idea having what infinite means, no experience of infinite. And those who say God is Krishna didn't perhaps have the vision of Krishna at all. So that was condition. And Sri Ramakrishna, then Yam still he answered, Sir, I like to think of God as formless. Sri Ramakrishna said, that's very good. But don't think that those who think God with form are wrong. God can be with form and God can be formless. But for you, hold on to your ideal that God without form is the real God that you love. So it was very surprising for Yam. Now about Sri Ramakrishna we want to know who Sri Ramakrishna is. So once Girish Ghosh said, how can you know about Sri Ramakrishna who he is? Many people have tried to find out who really is. Even after seeing the Master so many times at close quarters, I am unable to say definitely what he is or what his distinctive aspects are. We cannot say whether the master was Purusha or Prakriti. So that was it said. Concept of Purusha is the being which has no form, and Prakriti is this manifested universe. That what we see, this whole universe is Prakriti. Transformation of Prakriti, manifestation of Mula Prakriti. But Purusha is the power that presides over this creation. That is Purusha. Purusha is supposed to be formless, and Prakriti, of course, we see it has form, shape, color that we find perception. We can perceive the manifested Prakriti. That's what Girish Ghosh said. So now the question is, Sri Ramakrishna no doubt has the form. If we see, it was son, that it was read in this, he was Khudiram and Chandramani's son, he born in 1856, he passed away in 1886, and that is all his life is most of the time went in pursuit of understanding God, knowing God through love, through knowledge, through yoga, and through tantra, all the paths, and knowing God in various aspects, knowing God through various paths of faith, through Christianity, through Islam, and ultimately finding that God is one, and He can be reached through all these religions, and he did say this, and then when God is one, so quarreling in the name of religion is senseless. That my religion is true and your religion is not true is senseless, is madness. What is reality is different religions are different paths. If you pursue your own path, you will reach that place, and then you will understand that God is one, religions are just paths. We all are children of God. There should be a lot of love, understanding, friendliness, fraternity among all children of God. That's whole humanity, whole life. That's what Sri Ramakrishna preached. So he will definitely have the form. That is Sri Ramakrishna's life. How was Sri Ramakrishna in his form? We get somewhere in the written, Akshay Kumar Sen, who sits Sri Ramakrishna and wrote a book in Bengali called Ramakrishna Puthi. Puthi is like, in rhymes, in verses, he wrote the life of Sri Ramakrishna. He describes Sri Ramakrishna that Sri Ramakrishna said at that place. So he described that Sri Ramakrishna had a broad forehead and curved and slightly reddish, beautiful lips. His smile was very sweet and was just the gentle ripples on the river Yamuna. His neck was well proportioned, large chest and long arms nearly reaching to his knees, Ajana Bahu, just like Rama. His legs were graceful and soles of his feet were soft and crimson. Master's ears were below the eye lines, his eyes were broad and beautiful and extremely piercing, could see the inside of a person like the glass case. That was Sri Ramakrishna's physical description, which was given by Akshay Kumar Sen, whom Swami Vivekananda had given the name Shakchunni. That was Swami Vivekananda to give nicknames to people whom he loved so much. And he was a great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. I was associated closely. The little description we find, physical description of Sri Ramakrishna, how was Sri Ramakrishna. Yam also first he met, and he said, what a graceful person. He was also very much impressed with the beautiful smile, wonderful talk, simplicity, and how he started talking when he met first. Oh, Girish, how is Keshav Sen? He was sick, I prayed to mother. So he was talking like he had met his friend. Yam was not like Sri Ramakrishna, he was younger to Sri Ramakrishna, second time he's meeting, but he's talking just as if he did know him for many years and as if he was his friend. That was Sri Ramakrishna's beauty, to be with the person instantly, because he had love for everyone. And Yam says, what a sweet personality. And he said his voice was very sweet. he was a little stammering, and that made his voice still sweeter because of little stammering he had, and that's what Yam says. So we get from different biographies how Sri Ramakrishna was. But they say that Sri Ramakrishna, once Swami Brahmananda was asked, clay mold was made of Sri Ramakrishna and said they had to be made in the image. So can you say it is okay, it looks like Sri Ramakrishna? And Radha Maharaj said, how can I say that? I saw Sri Ramakrishna in many forms. Sometimes he looked very tall, sometimes stouter, sometimes thin. There were so many aspects of his form. So we cannot say that he was that. Sri Ramakrishna himself saw himself in different forms. Once he was there and suddenly he saw his body made of crystal. Not the flesh and blood, crystal. And he saw there was no shadow there. The crystals won't have all light to pass through it. And he said to Divine Mother, Mother, don't make me like this. Don't make me beautiful like this. And please enter into myself and make me like ordinary human being. Once he says, that time when he was in sadhana, his chest used to become flush red and there would be halo and face was shine, and he had people who stared at him. He became so attractive personality. So he used to cover his body with a shawl so that people do not find it ordinary, and prayed fervently to Mother, Mother, don't give this physical beauty. If people see like that, they will be afraid. They will not come near me. Make me like ordinary human being to look at, so that I can relate with the people. People are not afraid. The real form of God is sometimes very scary. We know from the Bhagavad Gita, when he saw God in the universal form, Arjuna. Sri Krishna said, none has seen this form. Many try to see, but none has said, you are the first one, I am showing you this form. And this was very glorious. God is in universal aspect. But what was that? The sun and the eyes were sun and moon. It was so tall, touching the heavens. And when he saw that form, and the fire was blazing through his mouth, and whole creation was going into it, he was chewing the forms, and the fang, the teeth were so big that some of the flesh was stuck in the teeth. So detailed Arjuna saw, he was very afraid. He was not joyful at all by seeing God in universal form, and said, I am afraid, Lord, don't show me this form. Please assume your same benign form. God in its true form may be not that as present as we think. It may not be like Vishnu or Krishna that we see here that in his true form. And if it is formless, then you don't understand at all. Just you feel. So we need the form of God to enjoy God. That's why they say in Vaishnava Shastra, I want God. God is sweet. And you can enjoy the sweetness of God. Raso Vaisa is said in the Vedas, in the Upanishads. He is extremely enjoyable. Rasa, blissful. Raso Vaisa. And when Rasagum Hevayam Labdha Anandi Bhavati, when you realize God, when you get God, then you experience Ananda, bliss. So God is that blissful being whom you get, you enjoy. Then what happens? The God is Brahman, but Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati. When you realize God, realize Brahman, you become Brahman. Vaishnava said that type of realization I don't want. I want to enjoy the beauty of God, the bliss of God. I want to taste sugar. I don't want to be sugar itself. I don't want to become Brahman. I just want to enjoy God. That's keeping separation from God. That's not the final thing according to Advaita. Advaita says, Brahman and Atman are same. You yourself and God are same. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Jiva and Brahma are same. That's what Shankaracharya tries to explain. And that was being read. In Mundaka Upanishad, there is a beautiful explanation of the universal form of God. And it was said in the Gita. The Gita is said to be Upanishad. Gita is the cream of all the Vedas. So, and it is described there also it is said here, how the God is described in the Mundaka Upanishad. The Mundaka Upanishad describes the cosmic being like this. The heavens are his head, the sun and the moon his eyes, the revealed Vedas his speech, the wind his breath, the universe his heart. From his feet is produced the earth. He is indeed the inner self of all beings. You see, after describing the universal aspect of God, Upanishads always try to make what you see as the universal aspect, it is just a vision. Just it is a form, but in its essence, it is the self of all of us. That is what Vedas always want to say. It may be manifested that way, but in truth, that being who is manifested in so vast and so huge is in fact your own true self. That's all they try to emphasize. When we read this verse, we become afraid to love that Supreme Being. How will you love someone who is so big universe and whose eyes are like one is sun and one is moon? How will you love someone having one eye of sun and one eye of moon? Like that thing. Supreme Being whose eyes are the sun and the moon. We cannot imagine approaching him or establishing relationship with him. For this reason, we need Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Rama, Krishna, and other great prophets who incarnate as human beings for our sake and guide us along the path of blessedness. Incarnations like Sri Ramakrishna help to get a glimpse of the infinite being. Sri Ramakrishna once said, through a hole in the wall, you can see the other side of the meadow. That hole is the incarnation. So, what about Sri Ramakrishna's form? Sri Ramakrishna's form was described by many as God himself. Swami Vivekananda once Sri Ramakrishna showed his own picture, own photo, and said, "Look, I dwell in this, meditate on me." Sri Ramakrishna himself said, "This photo, I dwell in this photo, and meditate on me." And he said, Sri Ramakrishna said, "In the course of time, this picture will be worshipped in many homes." In many homes, he said. And this is this picture, what he has said. Holy Mothers, replying to a question, does Master dwell in the picture? After the Sri Ramakrishna said to Vivekananda, he didn't know it was not all published that way. So one devotee asked, does Sri Ramakrishna really dwell in the picture? Picture is made up of paper and there are some colors. And does he dwell? Holy Mother replied, of course he does. The body and its shadow are the same. Chaya, Kaya, Ek. Kaya is body, Chaya is shadow. And photo is just a shadow. That's what Holy Mother said. So Sri Ramakrishna, when we pray to come to the picture and pray to him, we find more manifested. As we know, God is everywhere. Somebody said very nicely, God is everywhere. Why you have to go to temple then? Why we need to go to temple to worship? God is present everywhere. We can do in our home, we can do on the path. Why is the need of going to places of worship, churches and mosques and gurudwaras and temples and synagogues? So one recent spiritual teacher is there. He said very nicely. He said that when your car gets deflated tires of car, then what you do? You go to garage to repair it. And why do you have to garage? Air is everywhere. Why don't you feel anywhere? You have to go to the place where it is available, where you find manifestation. When your cycle's tube is deflated, then you go to the place where you can repair and pump, air can be pumped. So you have to go to that place. So temples are like that, where you really find God more manifested and you can feel in God, which other places you might not be able to feel it. You need temples of worship to feel the presence of divine. In one of the meetings, Sri Ramakrishna asked to him, "What do you think of me? How many annas of knowledge of God have I?" Anna is is a unit of currency in India. Rupee is like our dollar, and rupee and now cent is called paisa. Earlier time, during British rule, there used to be paisa, then anna, then rupee, like we had in England. Shilling and pound. Pence, shilling and pound. Like that was there. And 16 annas made 1 rupee. If you had to say 100%, it is 16 annas. It is 16 annas is for a man, means 100% is a good fellow. That's why Sri Ramakrishna asked, how many percent of knowledge of God have I? So he wants to taste his disciple, how much he understands. Already he had a great affection and attraction and feeling of his likeness for Sri Ramakrishna. Now how much does Yam, who is going to write my conversation, knows about me? And Yam says, wonderful answer he gives. Yam says, I don't know about the annas. I cannot quantify how much knowledge of God you have. That is beyond my capacity. But what I can understand with whatever intellect and feeling I have never seen such knowledge, ecstatic love, faith in God, renunciation and Catholicity anywhere. Remember, Yam was a very learned person. He was double MA. He was principal in 3 schools. He was, and he had met many people to listen to the lecture. He was very close to Keshav Sen, used to read a lot of books on philosophy. Really a knowledgeable person, and had many religious teachers at the time. It's not that just he had met only Sri Ramakrishna. And that's why he said, I have never seen a person like you, so much of renunciation, so much of love, so much of knowledge and faith in God and Catholicity. Accepting everyone. No distinction made between human being and human being. Never I have seen such thing, though it was progressing in India, it is the capital of Bengal, British rule, people are learning English education, but still there were people who discriminated between, gender discrimination was there, class discrimination was there. In that time, here was a place in Sri Ramakrishna where there was no distinction not only between caste and class and gender, but no distinction between good and bad, moral and immoral. Nothing was there. Anyone going to Sri Ramakrishna, he will accept. Sri Ramakrishna, his mother, before he was born, she saw light coming from Shiva temple and entering her womb. People say Sri Ramakrishna has got the quality of Shiva, very much compared with Shiva. When he was born, he just slipped into the oven, dead oven, where was acid were there. It was not live oven, no heat was there. And they were not finding, the nurse was trying to find, she was not finding where the boy just born went away. She couldn't expect that he would have entered into the oven that was on the ground. And finally she found, and he was not crying. And finally she found and brought. And what was there? Her whole body was smeared with the ashes. Like Shiva, always smearing with the ashes. That's what Shiva, and he went to do one acting during Shivaratri. He had to perform a dance of Shiva. And he couldn't perform the dance. He was very artistic by nature. He could easily do that. But he was so much emotionally absorbed in the thought of Shiva, he forgot about the dance. He was in ecstasy, and that ecstasy made him motionless. He just went on the stage and was in samadhi. That was Bhava Samadhi. No dance, nothing. He was Shiva. That Shiva was also of that quality. Shiva also never rejected anyone coming to him. Swami Vivekananda describes very nicely. He said that old bull, who had no place to go, becomes his vehicle. Hobgoblins, bhutas, all are his disciples and his retinue. All those who don't find anywhere to go, all come to Shiva. Can I be here? Shiva said, yes, come in. He has no rejection to anyone. He has no distinction, sinner or good soul. It doesn't say anything. Anyone goes to Shiva, he will remove all the sins of that person and make him pure. That purity Shiva has. Whenever there is not concerned with the world. Shiva has no concern with the world, what is going on, what is needed, and they try to churn the ocean and bring out all divine things. They didn't know that before the good things come, bad things may come. And really it happened. Suddenly came poison, very big poison, hala hala. Now what to do with this poison that has come, we never thought. We thought only a good thing they thought and tried to share that and possess that, whatever the bad thing that comes. Then no other form of God worked. Shiva, who was in Kailash, they all ran to him. So please save us, we are not able to do something very dangerous has come, who is going to destroy the whole world. It's such a hala hala. Can you do something? So Shiva said, okay, give me that. So he saved the humanity creation, though he had no connection and concern with getting anything from the world. Very happy living in Kailash in the mountain without any jewelry, any decoration, matted laws, the song sang so nice. But what is Shiva? Parapara Moksha Vidhayaka. That was his son. He is supreme. Parapara is greater than the greatest. Parapara. And what does he do? Moksha Vidhayaka. He gives mukti, he gives emancipation, he gives fearlessness. That is his power. And with that Shiva, though in the stories Rama Krishna himself said, who was Rama, who is Krishna, is Rama Krishna, but he was also Shiva. In Kamarpukur, if you see the temple of Kamarpukur, at the top they have made a Shiva Linga at the temple, denoting that Shiva came as Sri Rama Krishna. Perhaps that's why their birthday is also so close. Shiva on Chaturdasi, and after 3 days on Dvitiya, Falguna Shukla Dvitiya is Sri Ramakrishna's birthday. And in quality both are same. How simple was Shiva, Bhola, Bholenath they call, Bhole Baba. It's so simple, Shiva. Anybody praise him, he wants something without understanding, thinking anything, okay, granted. And he himself became a problem. Sri Ramakrishna like that, so simple. He himself said, why mother wants to finish the Leela? Oh, perhaps being simple, I may give many things to many persons which they don't deserve. That's why this Leela is going to finish perhaps. One person came and wanted to do pranam to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna said, no need, just do like that, I will do. And that person said, if you do not give a feet down, put your feet down, then what I will do is, I will bring a saw, I will cut your feet and take to my village, and I will let every being there to do pranam on her feet. Listening to this, Ramakrishna push his feet down and say, okay, that's it, like that is Sri Ramakrishna. And his disciples, you see, one of them was they used to drink a lot and had not a very good life, but he loved Sri Ramakrishna. Everyone loved Sri Ramakrishna. And then he came one day and said, let's go boat ride. And he took a boat to him and he said, to Sri Ramakrishna, now you will have to give me emancipation and clean me from all my sins. Clear me that. Sri Ramakrishna, how can I do that? Just repeat the name of God and you will slowly be purified. You will have attained that love of God. He said, no, I don't want to hear that. You have to take the responsibility of giving me mukti. Sri Ramakrishna said, how can I do that? If you are not giving that and promising, I am not taking you back. He had already brought Sri Ramakrishna to the middle of Ganga. I will be here, I am not taking you back to the shore. That was so simple was Sri Ramakrishna, so friendly was Sri Ramakrishna. This disciple came a few days and just said, Sri Ramakrishna, after seeing that all everywhere water and this is not giving up, he said, okay, granted. You will be purified, you will attain the devotion of God. That is exactly like Shiva. Know where to go, we go to Sri Ramakrishna. In Hinduism, we find many forms of God. God is one. How can He have so many forms? So people often get confused. Those who are out of the pale of Hinduism confused. Even the children growing in this country, they get confused when they are asked a question by their peer. They are not able to answer that. Why God in so many forms? You go to the Hindu temple, you find so many gods there. Rama, Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, Kali, everything. So here also we worship 5 deities. Why? God is one. Why you have to worship in so many ways? Why God has become so many forms? Are all forms divine or imagined? How can God be like Kali, the tongue sticking out and the sword and the skull and all that thing? Can God be like that? God, we have the idea that God is only beautiful like Krishna, having a nice face, playing music. How can God be so terrible like Mother Kali? But that terrible form is for destroying the evils. That's why she has assumed that ferocious forms. The devotees of Mother Kali don't see any ferocity there. They only see Divine Mother. Sri Ramakrishna says, Sadanandamayi Kali. Oh Mother, you are always blissful, always joyful. Where is terribleness in your form? Those he is worshipping Mother with the same tongue sticking out, skull and sword, and yet they don't find any terribleness in that. Because she is the Mother. Where the child finds terror in Mother. Mother is benign always. One is that. One is Shiva, matted locks and smeared with ashes and with a tiger skin, no jewelry, nothing. Even our Christ, if you see, Christ was simple dress, no ornaments, hair disabled, and that was the form of God, incarnation of God, where you find that glory, beauty that has been described in Vishnu and Krishna and Rama, all decorated with that. What about Buddha? He was ascetic, wearing loins cloth, doing meditation. That is the form of God. Shiva, Kali, all that is the form of God. Different forms of God came. Incarnations, we know, they lived in history. But the forms of God like Kali and Shiva, they're all, these visions were given to the devotees in their meditation. Or they saw this form of God in this aspect, and then they described, and people then worshipped, and when they worshipped they found joy, and they found their fulfillment for their prayers in that very form. Mother granted the prayers of their devotees. Those all forms are real. It is not imagined. All they, the God, the Supreme Being, the Formless, the Infinite, took these forms to their particular devotees and revealed in them. So that is the reason why there are so many forms. Because there are so many minds. One type of form gives satisfaction to one type of person. One who loves Shiva may not like Vishnu that much, like Shiva's form, matted locks, meditating, yogi, smeared with ash, tiger skin. That is the one that is so precious and important for that person. Other person like Vishnu lying on the snake, or Vishnu with 4 arms and Shankha Chakra Gada Padma and beautiful crown on head and nice apparel, nice ornaments. That person like that, he is fulfilled, his heart is very happy thinking of God in that form. So God assumed that type of form for the devotees of Vishnu, devotees of Krishna, devotees of Rama. But it is one God, ultimate, infinite, Satchidananda, which has become these all forms. So all this universe, this form has come from the formless, as it is said. It is said that the Purusha, great Purusha, creates, that it has come from the great Purusha. How does God create, the formless being, the truth, Sat Chit Ananda, create this universe? The process of creation, the method of creation, we say that it is created by that supreme reality, and yet it rests on that. And the example given in Upanishad is Yathorna Nabhi Sridate Gridnate Cha Yatha Satak Purushat Keshalo Mani Yatha Prithibhyam Osadaya Udbhavanti. Like the spider creating web from its own body and again absorbing. Like that supreme God, supreme being, the Brahman creates this manifested universe, this form, the world universe with form. And again it absorbs that, like the spider can absorb the thread of the web that it has created. Like the plants that grow on the earth, like that, these forms come from the formless. Earth hues, and that many various types of plants grow. Like that, the creation comes from God. And still another example the Upanishad gives, like the hair that grow on the body and head of a human being. Like that, the forms come from the formless. So form and formless can be same. Sri Ramakrishna gave wonderful example without ever coming to the West and seeing this. He said, I have heard in the north that in winter time it becomes a lot of ice, and summertime that ice melts. This very ice comes from the ocean. Ocean freezes and becomes ice. At almost formless water taking the form, solid, complete form of the ice. And in summertime, the ice melts and it becomes again ocean. And he makes it with spiritual practice. Through the love of bhakti of winter, till this snow, water of the ocean, it freezes into ice through bhakti. So that formless being through bhakti can be achieved as God with form. God with form is for the bhakta. Jnani doesn't matter. Jnani says God is all pervading, formless, attributeless, nirguna. Swami Vivekananda also wrote about Sri Ramakrishna in his famous prayer, Nirguna Gunamaya. Niranjana Nirguna Gunamaya. He is without attributes, yet all attributes are from him. And when knowledge dawns, and heat of knowledge, he says, that form melts into formless. But the form and the formless, the ice and the water are the same thing. They are not different. How you look, how you perceive it depends on that. That's why form and formless are of the same being. Now we see the pictures of Sri Ramakrishna. It is easy for us to think his form and meditate on the form. But how to meditate on the formless Sri Ramakrishna? We should read the Kathamrita and try to meditate on the words spoken by the Master. His conversations have great depth, and the more we think on them, the more Sri Ramakrishna is revealed to us. Once, the Master said, "It is enough if you can know who I am. Who are you, and what is our relationship?" By reading and meditating on the Leela of the incarnations, it is possible to achieve the Nitya, the eternal supreme being. So through understanding him with form, if we want, or if he wants, he can take us to the formless aspect of his. That is possible. But form and formless are same. Sri Ramakrishna, we see the person, but in reality he is infinite. He is Sat Chit Ananda. The Sat, the truth, the reality, that reality manifests as this concrete universe. The reality manifests as this universe, everything in the universe. That is Sat aspect of the Brahman, of the formless God. And what is Chit aspect? Chit, the consciousness that manifests as knowledge. That we want knowledge, we seek knowledge, we have knowledge of everything. That is the Chit aspect manifesting. And what is Ananda aspect manifesting? God is Ananda, blissful. How does it manifest in us? Concretized aspect of Ananda, that is love. So, this universe with all beings and the knowledge of everything, secular, spiritual, anything, knowledge, and the love. If we all three combine together in the concretized aspect, that very thing in its subtle aspect become the formless, that very formless in its concretized form becomes thing with the form. Sri Ramakrishna is exactly like that, and he once taught to Yam. He said, I want to show you how to meditate on the formless aspect. Sri Krishna says in the Gita that formless, to meditate on God with formless aspect is difficult for many persons. So God with form is easy for many persons. But For some person, accepting, meditating, thinking of God as formless, infinite, that is, they feel nice, they feel better. For them is the formless aspect as well as yummy. And how to meditate on God as formless being? And said, I will take you to one big pond, reservoir of water. And he took him, Moti Shire Bagan. And there, he showed fish. And he said, can you see the fish swimming? He said, I have seen so many times fish. What is there to meditate? If I meditate on the fish swimming, again it will be meditation on form. Because fish is a form, what is a form? No, not on the fish or the water or swimming. What to meditate on that? He says, meditate on the bliss that fish has while swimming in water. No fear, huge expanse of water, fish can go anywhere fearlessly, and there is freedom for the movement. Meditate on the bliss of the freedom that fish enjoyed while swimming in water. So subtle is the meditation. You have to meditate on that aspect that becomes the formless aspect, like infinite love, infinite freedom, total fearlessness. That is not easy for embodied being, as it says. Nahi deha pratashakyam. You can say it in the Gita, for a person who is embodied and identified with the body, it is difficult to meditate on the formless aspect of God. So, worshipping God with form is easier for many. To Sri Ramakrishna, we can worship, think, read, understand Sri Ramakrishna through his life, through his conversation, and through our meditation. And if in our meditation we can find more closeness, more attraction, more we find we are with Sri Ramakrishna, then it comes the awareness. We can see, oh, everything is that whom God, whom we call Sri Ramakrishna, is the one who runs the show of this creation. He did everything that is pertinent to my life. And my whole life is guided by his presence. In the formless aspect, he is always with me. And whatever happens to me in my life happens by his will. We can feel the presence of Sri Ramakrishna in everything that happens to us. In life, in sickness, in health, moment of death, after death, Sri Ramakrishna is always there. And if we meditate on Sri Ramakrishna with form, maybe we'll be able to see him in our heart and see him around us, moving us. At the time of death, if we like to see him with form, maybe he will come with form, with the same bearded person coming and come, your praise is done. Come with me to the divine place, the place of light, place of real knowledge, place of eternal life, and he will take us. It depends what type of Sri Ramakrishna we want, with form or without form, but we have to approach him through the form, through his conversation, through the gospel, through the divine Leela, and more we find closer to him, more we find him to be our own, more love grows for him, more we will be able to understand Sri Ramakrishna, and he becomes an inseparable part of our life. And coming to Sri Ramakrishna, ourselves, Sri Ramakrishna coming too close to us in any form or formless, it is a life of assurance, life of fearlessness, life of tremendous love for God and for all